AITA for telling my mill, A for my wedding myself, if she can't respect my few wishes. Plus, all updates. I 25M will be marrying my fiancée Gina 25F later on this year. I proposed to her a little bit before Christmas, and we're aiming for a November wedding. Gina has 2 older brothers, only one of which has gotten married, and for one reason or another, my Mill 68F was not involved in the planning of the wedding at all. She was pretty hurt over this, as she's always wanted to help plan her children's weddings. So when we got engaged, she offered to pay for most of the wedding, and in return, we agreed to let her help with the planning. In my mind, as long as I'm marrying Gina, I'm happy. So I was okay with this. The only thing I'm really sticking to that I refuse to change is what I'm wearing. My mother died when I was very young, and she was the daughter of first-generation Scottish immigrants. My grandparents moved from the north of Scotland in the 60s, and my mother was brought up learning about her parents' culture. Since she died, I've had a hard time connecting to that side of my family, and after my grandfather died a few years ago, I decided that I wanted to wear her family's kilt when I get married. I talked about this with my fiancée before we got engaged, because it is an unorthodox idea, but she thought it was sweet and liked the idea. A few days ago, my mill came up to me and told me I'd have to wear a traditional tux instead of a kilt. When I asked her why, she said it went against the view she had of Gina's wedding, and that the colors of my mother's tartan clashed with the colors she had chosen for the wedding. When I told her that this was pretty much the only thing I'm unwilling to budge on, she brought up how she's paying for most of the wedding and wearing a tux is the least I could do. When I brought this up to Gina, she echoed the sentiment her mother had made about paying for the wedding. I'm able to pay for it myself, and I told Gina that I thought she understood how important this connection to my mother was to me, especially because she can't be there. And if she wasn't able to accept that, then I'd pay for the wedding myself. Gina told me I was being a bit of a dick for being this stuck to what I want to wear, and once my mill heard that I would just pay for the wedding myself, she got really upset because it's always been her dream to plan Gina's wedding. I'm feeling like a bit of a dick right now, and was wondering if I should just wear a standard tux. My family's kilt is really important to me, but this is causing more conflict than I thought it would. Update. So the past 24 hours or so have been eventful. I took most people's advice and talked to my fiancée about this issue before going forward. Her siding with her mother like this and going against me was really out of character, so I felt like I really needed to figure out what was on the go. The long and the short of it comes down to money. Gina doesn't make as much of a salary as I do. I make almost 2.5x her salary. Despite this, she's pretty insistent of things being 50-50 between us. Our finances aren't combined until after marriage because of some weird tax issues and legal things in our home region, but even with me making more, she insists we're a team and have to go 50-50 on big things. Rent, car payments, electrical, wedding, etc. So even though I'm able to pay for the wedding myself, she's not able to pay for the half she feels like she'd want to pay. Because of this, she's really clinging to the idea of her mother paying for our wedding, even though I'd be more than happy to pay for it all myself. We talked yesterday evening, and she said that since she accepted her mother paying for the wedding, their relationship has become pretty strained, with Mill pretty much taking over the wedding planning. Apparently, Mill was initially pushing for a tropical destination wedding in Jamaica, an idea Gina put down quickly as she knows I hate the idea of destination weddings, and Mill had even tried to get final say on the dress Gina was going to wear, as well as she wanted final say over who the bridesmaids were. She wanted her friend's daughters, who Gina is not close with, in the party. I've had a pretty good relationship with Mill so far, so I found it kind of odd how she went total momzilla, but I have noticed her and Gina drifting apart a bit, although I never thought it was related. A few people thought that Gina actually hated the idea of the kilt, and had Mill acting as the bad guy to try and change my mind. And you're not completely wrong. She doesn't hate the idea, but really doesn't. Like that the other male members of the bridal party will be wearing tuxes, while myself and my cousin would be wearing kilts. She wanted consistency across the board, and had expressed this to her mother. Mill took this as the opportunity to get me to wear a tux instead of getting the groomsmen to wear kilts, and had the wedding colors changed without Gina's knowledge to contrast with my family's tartan. When I talked to Gina yesterday, She said that she had just gotten out of a massive fight with her mother over changing the colors, and really wasn't in the mood to start another argument with her. She acknowledged she was in the wrong for siding with her mom, and seemed genuinely sorry. She said that in the stress of planning a wedding while having an overbearing mother, she had thought of the kilt as another detail, and had forgotten the significance of it to me, and that she was really sorry. In the meantime, a few changes have been made. My mill is no longer paying for the wedding, and no longer involved in planning. I'm going to pay half, as Gina never wanted me to pay more than half by myself for something that's for both of us. And my Phil is covering the parts that Gina is going to have some trouble covering. Mill is unaware of this. Phil and Mill are still together. However, he's not telling her he's helping pay. We're still getting married in November. Wedding colors have been changed back to match my kilt. And we've decided to rent kilts in our regional tartan for the rest of the groomsmen so that they match the aesthetic. Thankfully, no deposits were put down on things like tux rentals, bridesmaid dresses, or decorations, so no money lost. A lot of people told me to seriously reconsider marrying Gina, and going into our talk last night, I really was. But I'm happy with how things turned out, since this really was an anomaly in her behavior, and I really am excited to marry her. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.